Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick video with an example of graphing a hyperbola. So we've got an equation here in general form. We're going to complete the square to get it into standard form. So just quickly here, we'll factor out a 9 for the x squared side. 9, and it'll be x squared minus 8x plus something. And we also got to factor out the negative 16, so that'll be y squared plus 2y plus something, and that's going to equal 16, and we're going to have to add to that. Alright, so 8 and half is 4, 4 squared is 16. Now remember, I'm actually not just adding 16 to the left side, I'm adding 9 times 16, which is 144. And then we get 2. Half of 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So I'm actually on this side adding negative 16. So we got to add negative 16, which that's nice. Those cancel. All right, so now I've got 9 times the quantity x minus 4 squared minus 16 quantity y plus 1 squared equals 144. And I'm going to divide everything by 144 to get it equal to 1. Okay, which will give me my final equation here. So 144 into 9, it's going to leave me with 16 on the bottom. So I've got x minus 4 squared over 16 minus, and then the 16 into 144, that'll leave me with 9 on the bottom, equals 1. Okay, so I've got my equation, and now we're going to graph it. Okay, so let's gather our information here. So we've got a center at 4 comma negative 1. Okay, my a squared is the positive term, so that's going to be 16, which makes a 4. B squared is going to be 9, so b is going to be 3. And in a hyperbola, c squared is a squared plus b squared. So c squared is going to be 16 plus 9 equals 25, which gives me a c value of 5. Alright, and now let's make a graph here. So I'm at, 4, negative 1. So kind of want to hang out over here. Going to plot my center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1. There's my center. So the hyperbola has the x squared as the positive term. That means this is going to be a hyperbola that is opening to the right and left. So my a value is what we call the transverse axis. Okay, so I'm going to go 4 units to the right and left of my center, and that's going to give me my 2 vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, because the a value is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's my transverse axis. Right. We also have something called the conjugate axis, and that's perpendicular to that. Okay, so that's my b value here. My b value is 3, so I'm going to go up 3 and down 3 from the center. So up 1, 2, 3, and down 1, 2, 3. And what you can see is those 4, we can connect those to form kind of a rectangle. So we'll just kind of do dotted lines. The rectangle is not actually a part of the graph. That's why we're going to use a dotted line. Okay. And that box, that rectangle, gives us our asymptotes. Right? Those asymptotes are the kind of the guidelines for the hyperbola. So I'm going to draw the 2 diagonals of the rectangle, again, as dotted lines, and those are going to be asymptotes of my graph. Okay. All right, C gives me my focus. Okay, that's the distance from the center to the focus. All right, again, the focus is not a real point on the graph, all right, but it helps us draw the graph. So 5 units along the major axis, so it's 4 to get to my vertex, so it's 1 more unit to the left here and 1 more unit to the right, and I will draw a focus there in red and a focus there. Okay. At this point, I can draw my graph. All right, and that graph is going to go from my vertex on each side out towards the asymptote. So I'm going to draw that, and let's draw that in, yeah, blue's okay. All right, so it's going to go out like that. So remember, it's going through the vertex, not through the focus. So we draw that there. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Let's try this again. Make it a little thicker. There, that's nice. All right, there's my hyperbola. Okay, it's going along those asymptotes, and that's the graph there. Okay, now I want to list off all the vertices and the equations of the asymptotes. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop that list up here for you guys. Okay, there are the vertices, from the center, 4 to the right, 4 to the left, and the foci from the center, 5 to the right and 5 to the left. Okay, and the last thing we want to do is write the equation of those two asymptotes there. All right, and we're actually going to write it as one equation because if we look at the slopes of those two lines, all right, they're going to be opposites of each other. So from that center, this value, if you remember it, is b. So we went up 3 over 4. So my slope is going to be positive 3 over 4 and negative 3 over 4. So I know I'm going to have a slope of plus or minus 3/4. And then they both go through the point 4 comma negative 1. So we're going to use point slope 1. You remember that's y minus y1. So y minus negative 1. So y plus 1 equals plus or minus 3/4. And it's going to be x minus x1, which is 4. So x minus 4. And there's the equation of the two asymptotes. Okay, hope that helped a little bit.